Welcome to Wednesday Game Day 31 review of the Bundesliga show. I'm Gav Mack, that's Devo, and that is Flo. What's good?
That kind of flowed as well. That all kind of rhymed. Like spat those bars. You know what I mean?
Doing it for a while.
Yeah. Lovely intro.
Now, of course, if you don't know already, we're also beaming this on MAD Sports Network. So thank you, everybody, so far on MAD Sports Network who has liked, shared, and subscribed. But continue to do so, please. Hit that notification bell. Hit those like buttons. Get yourselves in the comments. And if you want some merch, let me know. You boys should be receiving yours in the next week or so. But at the moment,
Lovely.
I am the model for that. And that is what the crack is. So what we're going to do is going to go through all the games, of course, of what's been happening in the last 7 days in the Bundesliga. Flo will have his words of wisdom, of course. But Devo, there's some news going on in the Bundesliga.
There's a lot of news, and it's basically a managerial roundabout type circus type revolving door situation going on. Many clubs have sacked managers or had managers leave because other clubs had sacked their managers and thought, we'll have yours. The biggest one, obviously, is the Bayern Munich situation, where obviously Hansi Flick wasn't very happy and said, you know what, I would like you to terminate my contract. Bayern Munich said, I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, all right, we'll do that. And decided, who's the next up-and-coming manager that we're going to want? Mr. Nagelsmann. We're going to go and get Mr. Nagelsmann for a cool 25 million, which left Red Bull Leipzig in a bit of a hole. Obviously, Nagelsmann is the future of football. A lot of people look at him as the next up-and-coming big manager. So you can understand 25 million being spent. So Red Bull dipped into their Red Bull bag and got Jesse March to come in from Salzburg. So it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on there next season, if Red Bull can still challenge, if it was Nagelsmann or if it was, the Red Bull brand. So that's going to be very interesting. And then I've just learned through you guys that Augsburg also sacked their manager over the last few days, Heiko Herrlich, which is a bit harsh. I mean, yes, they lost to Cologne, but they're safe. They're very safe. He's also had health issues this season. They're safe. There's teams worse than them. They're safe. And he had his health issues earlier this season. I wonder if that played any part in their performance, but this is it. And Flo tells me they've signed a manager who used to be at Augsburg as well.
Exactly. Markus Weinziel was the manager who was there in the most successful time from 2012 to 2016. So he started as a manager when they're really at the bottom, and they finished, I believe, the first games with place 18 at Christmas, and then he managed to improve the team and qualify even for Europe when they lost in the best of 16 round, I believe, against Liverpool FC in the 2015-2016 Europa League campaign. Then he made a move to the money and to Schalke. But as you know, Schalke is a grave for every manager. So he was sacked after a year, moved on to Stuttgart, was a little bit in a hole in the last 2 years. And, well, have a look. He's back at Augsburg. Let's see if he can repeat the success story.
Yeah, well, I doubt he'll be leaving to go to Schalke. So hopefully
not again.
Okay.
Schalke are a big club. Schalke are a big club.
Massive club.
But yeah, Augsburg. Let's start with them and how they got on the weekend. So they lost 3-2 to FC Cologne. The issue is that Augsburg lost their last 4 games. So I think what they've done for this change is they've just been a little bit worried that we know they're safe because there are teams that are a lot worse than them, but mathematically they can still go down. So I'm thinking they've done this now just to ensure their safety in the Bundesliga. But Funkel, he's the gaffer now at Cologne. 2 wins in his last 2 games, including that emphatic victory against RB Leipzig last week. The opener volley, beautiful from Duda, gorgeous goal.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about gorgeous goals, make sure you also tune in at 10 p.m. tonight on the MLS show, because there's a lot of gorgeous goals in that as well. But it's Bundesliga football right now. Duda got himself a brace, yeah, Cologne. Where's I don't know. I never like talking about Cologne to Flo. I want some unbiased opinion. So I'll come to you, Devo.
You know what? I don't know what, because as of 2 weeks ago, I thought Cologne were dead and buried. and then they pulled off 2 brilliant victories, and they almost threw this one away. Very close. I mean, 3-0 up at half time, and they almost threw it away. But yeah, Duda's goal. What a goal. What a goal. Brilliant goal. That's my goal of the week in the Bundesliga for sure. So I think Cologne, I think they will stay up now. I think now I'm starting to really worry about Hertha Berlin. Because they're going to have to play 3 games in close succession, and that's going to be a big amount of pressure on them. I also worry about Werder Bremen, and we'll come to them a bit later. But I think Augsburg are fine.
Flo, would you rather have points on the board or games in hand?
I believe we had that, or I saw that question in one of the 2 up top shows, and I would prefer to have points on the board, because if you take a look at Hertha, they have a massive pressure situation now. I mean, it's 3 games, but it's 3 must wins, or at least 2 must wins. Otherwise, you're really stuck in the bottom there. And I would have preferred, as Hertha Berlin, to have maybe 31, 32 points, but having equal amount of games. And now it looks horrible for them. And I'm with Devo. I believe Werder Bremen and Hertha Berlin are the clubs which we have to worry about most this season, because Werder Bremen is in a huge declining way. Hertha Berlin has this pressure, and the other teams, Bielefeld has nothing to lose. Cologne is on the way up. Difficult situation.
So for you, are you saying that Cologne are safe?
No, obviously not, because they often show potential. They have good moments in games, like they played a great half against Augsburg, like they played good against Mainz, but they fail to bring stability in their game. They could have equalized, or Augsburg could have equalized the game at the hour mark or somehow, when Cologne had cleared the ball in front of the goal line, just in front of the goal line. So, and the whole game would have been different. And I still believe Cologne is not stable enough. And we will see. Maybe they're a contender for the relegation playoff spot, but they have the momentum on their side. And this leads me somehow to the conclusion that it could be possible for Cologne under certain circumstances.
Just admit it, son. Just admit it. They're staying up, Flo. And the reason why they're staying up...
He does not want to say it at all.
The reason why they're staying up is because you've also got issues with Arminia Bielefeld. And Arminia Bielefeld, they've played so well over the last few games. And they kept a couple of clean sheets in that as well, but got absolutely pumped by Borussia Mönchengladbach. Now, we sing the praises constantly of Stefan Ortega. If I'm honest, I think he's at fault for one of the goals. Other than that, there wasn't really much that he could have done.
He made some good saves as well.
That's the madness.
Which goal are you referring to?
The first one, where it went. Was it the first one? The one that went between his legs. That was.
Second one, I think that was.
That was Thuram's goal. Yeah. So that's the only one that I've got a problem with. So Brilliant Bolo, he scored a brace in this game, and I love to cuss him out on this show. And the reason I've got reason to cuss him out. That's the first goal he scored since match day 14.
Yeah,
against Bielefeld.
He turned into prime like Lionel Mbolo in this game. Do you know what I mean? He was playing like someone had borrowed his body.
Laia Briel and Bodo.
He was
Mbessi.
Good. He was special. Yeah, he was special. Second goal especially. He was involved in that move 4 times. I was a lovely
goal. Ronaldo.
Yeah. That's probably my second goal of the week. Third. I'll put that third place. That one.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued to see what number 2 is.
But I think Bielefeld. We were saying the other week they don't get smashed much. They never lose. Like they never get a heavy defeat, and then boom, here we go. Turns out 5-0. And Ortega made a couple good saves as well, but they were well and truly outmatched by Mönchengladbach. And it seems like now that the managerial circus has kind of left Mönchengladbach, that they've settled in and started to perform again, started to put some performances on the board. But yeah, I mean, they're still chasing that European place, but I think Bielefeld, they're going to have to forget about this quickly, because you can't take that form into your next game. They'll be in trouble. They need to remember what they had before this game came about.
Yeah, for real. Flo, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was I was wondering after the match because I was a little confused that Bielefeld got so smashed because they always, as Devo said, they have close games where they throw everything in that game, but this game was just there were no chances for Bielefeld, and Gladbach seems to be in the right direction at the right time, or at least to save the season just a little bit. It won't be a good season if they finish seventh, but they need international football to keep players to get the money, and it seems like they're on their way. But they have a very tough task next match day, and we'll come to that later.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, the only real opportunity I could think of for Bielefeld was the Gebauer shot, which was well saved by Jan Sommer, who's just come back from his suspension as well. So other than that, Jan Sommer for me was relatively untouched. But Gladbach, very, very comfortable winners, deserve their win, battling for European position alongside Union Berlin. And we had a brief chat about Werder Bremen earlier on, but Union Berlin, I thought they looked fantastic at the weekend. It's in particular the second half. The first half, it was, I think they were trying to put too much focus on Max Kruse, and he had no involvement really and truly, and he was taken off at halftime. I think he got a bit of a knock.
And he was limping, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and he was replaced by Petar Musa at halftime, who was heavily involved with a couple of the goals that was scored there by Poyampolo, which was nice. Werder Bremen, we'll go to Werder Bremen first, Flo. They're in trouble. We don't know which Werder Bremen side are going to show up, but I know that Union Berlin have had their ups and downs this season, but I feel like they needed to get at least a point from this game.
You mean Werder Bremen needed to get at least a point from this game, yeah. Yeah, they need to stop somehow this consecutive or the series of losing games. It's the seventh game in a row that they lost in the Bundesliga. 7 games or 7 weeks before, I remember I was talking and sitting here and saying, okay, 30 points, they try something out, easy situation, grab 1 or 2 wins along the way, and then they're safe. And now look at this. They need to focus not to lose the next game. Unfortunately, they play against Leverkusen, so I'm sorry, Bremen.
Easy 3 points for Werder Bremen.
Yeah. No.
What?
We need this desperately, but I'll come to that later.
No, it's an easy 3 points for Bremen. Oh, I'm only playing with you. What I really enjoyed about the last goal from Poyampolo was very Haaland-esque, wasn't it? The way he took it there.
Yeah, it was a great finish. I think the last 2 goals that he scored, both brilliant finishes. And he's not someone who gets a lot of goals. I think that's only his 5th goal this season. He hasn't played much football. But obviously he used to be at Leverkusen. He was coming off the bench and bagging goals quite regularly at first. Did the same thing at Union Berlin earlier this season and then disappeared. It'll be good to have him on form towards the end of the season for Union Berlin. But yeah, Werder Bremen, they're, how do you say, like, neck deep in Scheiße? You know what I mean?
We say it's knee deep in shit. So
they are neck deep,
but they're not until the knees, they're until the neck. But maybe one word to Poyampalo. It's a very sad story because from my point of view, he would be one of the 5 best strikers in the Bundesliga. He exactly knows where the goal is and how to hit the back of the net. But his body is just a mess. If he wouldn't have been so much injured or had so many injuries during his career, he would be a great striker because every time he plays, he's scoring. He has like 80 minutes per goal rate in the Bundesliga because he had 15 goals or 20 goals in 40 appearances and just always as a sub. So I hope
I'll Peter Crouch for England.
For his sake, that he stays just safe and healthy for at least maybe a year or 2 and gets the appreciation he deserves.
Is he still on the books at Leverkusen?
I think he's on loan.
Yeah. He's on loan, and that would lead me to another Bayer Leverkusen story, a prediction maybe in summer regarding transfers.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We'll come to that then. We'll come to that shortly. Don't worry about that. Whilst we'll talk about teams that are knocking around down the bottom, we've got Mainz, who have just been a revelation. King Bo Svensson, honestly, I'm sure he's got a little bit of English in him. And then what we could do is give him a knighthood because he deserves it. He really does. He has picked up from a possible 45 points. He's picked up 25 points.
Mm.
You know, that is
wonderful.
solid mid-table effort because they were
European
down.
football.
It is.
Yeah.
Like there's only two, was it going on 32, 33, 34. So there's 3 games left. If we had another 3 games and they carried on this form, what's stopping them getting into that little cheeky position in the Conference League?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're top of the form guide. And when you think of both the games against Bayern Munich, they deserve to win both of those. You know,
I still think that they deserve to win it first time round.
Yeah.
They lost 5-2. So on paper, it looks like, but on paper, it looks terrible. But they were 2-0 up and they were cruising.
And they had a real good chance to make it 3-0.
They should have made it 3-0. Should have made it 3-0, 100%. And then they fluffed it. But Burkhardt, he got the opener. Robin Kaizen, Palermo legend, he scored his 29th goal for Mainz, which is a record for Mainz in the Bundesliga as well. Before the stat padder, Lewandowski bagged right at the end with the last kick of the game. But the first goal from Burkhardt, what is going on with Neuer there?
I don't know if it's just like if the ball swerved and he thought that it was going to go towards his body. And then the last minute, he realized it was closer to his hand and kind of flicked his hand out. But to be fair, it's a goalkeeping mistake. And he won't be proud of that. And it's not something that he does regularly. He still made a world-class save after that as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the ball swerved on him. Maybe he's a little bit unsighted. I don't know.
Flo, is Devo being too nice?
No, it's okay. I mean, mistakes happening. In German, we say if you're responsible for a goal, if you did a mistake, you have to put this goal on your cap. I don't know if it makes any sense for you in English, but I'm sure you understand it. And Neuer would have needed a cap in this match. He should have put a cap on his head, and so he needed to put the goal on his cap. Because I believe it was just because of the sun that he was didn't seeing the ball right, or was just a little bit blinded by the sun. I don't know. Wasn't fully concentrated. Those mistakes won't happen to him in the Champions League semi-final. But in these matches, we see that he's only human, and that's good from time to time.
I sort of like it. I mean, like if that was any other goalkeeper, he'd be getting dug out hard. But the fact it was Neuer, I think he's getting off lightly.
Maybe just remember that he left his oven on. Oh no.
And,
no, the jersey is freshly cleaned.
But Mainz, let's give Mainz the praise that they deserve.
Yeah.
Let's put them on a pedestal and let's wax lyrical about Mainz for a hot minute. Week 14 was it? They were a point above the relegations. A point above Schalke, and they were gone.
They had 6 points at Christmas. 6 points.
They were even a point behind Schalke. When Schalke won their match against Hoffenheim, they were 1 point. Schalke with 7, Mainz with 6.
Man.
So Mainz was a point behind Schalke.
That's incredible. That is incredible. When you think of where Schalke are now, since then, Schalke have picked up 5 points. And Mainz are now on
25 points.
Yeah, and picked up 25 points. Crazy. And well done, Bo Svensson, and well done, Mainz. Because even when they were losing games at the beginning of the season, they didn't look that bad.
No,
there's only a couple of games I can think off the top of my head where I thought, wow, Mainz, they look terrible. The rest of it, they were in the games, and they were just getting unlucky. And obviously, and then they sold their top goal scorer as well.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. They sold Mateta.
I really like the transfer strategy from Mainz, because take a look who was signed by Schalke. Kolasinac, Mustafi, just some expensive bunch of guys who don't have the drive to perform. And Mainz, they sold their top goal scorer, made some money with him, and signed Da Costa and Kor, 2 guys living close by in Frankfurt, just half an hour by car, and were so highly motivated to prove themselves.
And Danny Da Costa has been a great signing, by the way.
Yeah,
I think he's been a brilliant signing.
Yeah, definitely. Local boys to Mainz, Frankfurt. They were beaten by Flo's boys 3-1. Nothing could separate them in the first half, and we didn't actually get a goal until the 70th minute. Now, which sick pervert out there has gone out on 70 minutes and put on over 3.5 goals in this game? Because I know there's someone out there. Check their hard drive, because honestly, I don't trust people. I don't trust people that put these bets on. I swear to God. But if you did, fair play to you. You know, take that money and run. Don't want you buying me a pint for it. I don't trust dirty money like that. I want money won properly. Anyway, Leon Bailey, Ilario and Demirbay got the goals for Leverkusen. Andre Silva only needs one goal to match a record. I can't pronounce the guy's name, so I'm sure Flo will have a much better gig at doing that. But yeah, it will be a record that has been held for nearly 40 years, Flo.
I believe the guy you're referring to is Bernd Hölzenbein.
There you go.
And yeah,
Easy.
he was. I mean, it's like for Germans or Scandinavian people, these OE and UE, like with the points on it. So that's easy for us. We know it. You do a great job pronouncing Mönchengladbach all the time. So
we try.
We
do try.
Yeah, but yeah, Bernd Hölzenbein is a real club legend. He was 74 World Cup winner with Germany. I believe he was a winger, not really a striker in the middle like Gerd Müller was at that time. But yeah, it's impressive that he scored 26 goals, and I'm pretty sure that Andre Silva will, score more.
I look at the position of your two centre halves at that point. He had a free header. I'm not like this isn't slander from me, by the way. When that cross comes in, your defense was static. Now I want to get the bad stuff out the way first before we talk about the praise, because I want to see what changes Leverkusen are going to make going forwards, because you can't be defending like that.
Well, it's they had an interesting formation at the back in this game, because they were playing with Jonathan Tah as a right back to fight Kostic, and I was really surprised. He did quite well. He even was surprised after the match in the post-match interview with our club TV. He said, "Oh, I learned some new skills today. I didn't know I had it in me, but it's good." I believe Hannes Wolf will stick to that, because this was the best match Leverkusen played in the last 5 weeks under his command, and it was for a very long time a match full of energy, and you saw the players wanting to win this match. And these 3 points, they are crucial for Bayer Leverkusen, because next match day, as I said, you face Bremen. You need to grab these 3 points, because Bayern Munich is playing against Gladbach and Wolfsburg against Union Berlin. And if they do their homework and Leverkusen does their own homework, you secured the Europa League spot. But I still owe you a conclusion regarding Poyampalo. Unfortunately, the goal scorer Alario's contract terminates in 2022.
Oh, okay.
From my point of view, he's really a great striker. If you let him play all 34 games, he guarantees you 15 to 20 goals. Like Wout Weghorst kind of guy. I mean, he did a brilliant second goal. First touch, it's great. But he won't be satisfied in Leverkusen. He needs to be sold in summer, because you need money. You can't just let him go without transfer fee. And that's the point where Poyampalo comes back as a sub for Patrick Schick. And I hope he stays healthy for the sake of Poyampalo, but also for the sake of our club, because this would be quite an okay replacement. You can't have two strikers like Alario and Schick in a club like Leverkusen. That's too much.
Yeah, they're very similar, aren't they, Devo?
Yeah, they are. And I think I'd prefer to keep Alario than Schick personally. I think Alario scores more goals. Schick, he wastes a lot of chances for me. He's got talent, but he just doesn't. He's never looked like a natural goal scorer to me. And he continues to look that way.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there, Devo. I mean, like, I feel like Schick should be someone who, just say if Leverkusen are playing Bailey, who put in another man of the match performance, by the way, Jamaican international. Go on,
Oh, that's my second goal of the week, by the way. Leon Bailey.
Okay, that's fair. I'll rate that. Yeah, because that was a lovely cross from Diaby. And if you're playing Diaby and Bailey out wide for each other, I feel that Schick could do a little bit like the Firmino role, should do the little bit like the Firmino role for Liverpool, and have Mane and Salah being the Bailey and Diaby. The issue is he's not technically gifted, Schick. So he's someone who, you put a cross in and he might get a header 6 yards out, but I don't feel that his link-up play is good enough. I don't think he draws players in or moves defenders away from the action that's happening up front. I'd rather play Alario there.
I think he's good physically. I just think he can't score goals. His finishing's not great, personally.
I actually think he's technically better than Alario, but Alario is the main goal scorer. Schick is a man for 10 to 15 goals, maybe. I mean, he had scored 9. That's okay for first season, but if you cost 26 million and you have this price tag, you need to deliver more. And they won't sack him or let him go, but let's continue.
I think you should go get Kevin Volland back.
He's banging goals on Monaco. He's having a great season.
Just get the old gang back together. That's how I see it. I think
you can have Leno as well if you want.
Yeah, do it. Honestly, it'd be wonderful. Just get Leno back. You can have the whole squad back together. Everyone would be happy. Anyway, Leipzig, they stretch out the title hunt by an extra week. It's all going to be done at the weekend. It's all going to be superficial. We all know this anyway. But Leipzig needed a victory anyway with everything that's happening behind the scenes. They got a 2-0 win against Stuttgart. Stuttgart were sent down to 10 men, however, after Hamada was sent off for an horrible tackle it was awful on our what's his face, on Haidara. Studs just beneath the knee. He wasn't very pretty at all, and just after 14 minutes as well. So they're on the back foot from early from the off. But I think they still made a good account of themselves. Leipzig were just that a little bit better.
Yeah, this was Leipzig versus Kobel. Gregor Kobel made, especially there was a double save he made, which was incredible. He made a lot of good saves in this game. It could have been a lot of a wider margin for Leipzig. But in the end, they plugged away and got their 2 goals, and they deserved it. And, I wonder how the players feel with the whole Nagelsmann thing. Because, they really bought into him, and, he kind of led that team. They had no stars. Nagelsmann was the star almost, It's a bit of a strange one. I wonder how they will feel moving forward. But I imagine that loss to Cologne was really what made him think, you know what, I'm done here. I'm going to Bayern Munich. I'm going to go and win some leagues and, win the Champions League or whatever. I'm done with this. Cologne, no, I'm off. I'm finished. Yeah, I feel sorry for Leipzig as much as you can, I suppose.
Flo?
Yeah. Great analysis from Devo. Nothing to add. Well, it all came down to in the match to Kobel against Leipzig. But I really liked the first Leipzig goal from Haidara. So he avenged himself for the bad tackle. Great cross and flying header. He looked a little bit like Van Persie in the 2014 World Cup. Was it 14? Yeah, it was 14.
Yeah. But, I like to liken him to Gareth McCauley when he was at Leicester, and would just leap up for anything and everything. He's like a salmon. That's what we used to nickname him. Here comes salmon. Because I'm not a Leicester fan, but when I was like 2021, when Leicester were knocking around in the Championship and League One, tickets were only £5, so I used to go watch them quite a bit. You know what I mean? So like when they have players like James Wesolowski and Ian Hume and Richard Stearman, the snake, snake. And Gav McCauley. Gav McCauley, every time I went, it just felt like he bagged. He would always leap up at the back stick, 7 foot, 8 foot higher than everybody else, and just nod one home. And I felt that's what Haidara was at. Absolute salmon.
That's salmon. Like
salmon, like the fish.
Salmon. I understand another word, and I was really confused about that meaning.
He's thinking, what are you talking about?
Samen, beziehungsweise or Samen is the German word. Is a German word for sperm. So salmon without the L would be sperm. I was really like, okay, where's this conversation going? This is so funny because this is.
Let's move. Wolfsburg 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. I'm really upset by this game. I thought Wolfsburg were going to put stuff to bed. Haaland with a brace. So, yeah, he is back proper, sniffing around for the first one and latching onto a poor mistake from was it Baku or Baku? I can't remember.
I believe it was
Baku. Poor back pass. Brooksy was like, don't know what's going on here. And Haaland was there sniffing, ready to go. Dortmund was sent down to 10 men. Jude Bellingham sent off for 2 yellow cards. A second challenge. Once again, we say it on all our shows and any show I'm on. If you've on a yellow card, don't give the referee a decision to make. Don't do it. And that's what he did. So annoying. But the Dahoud through ball for Haaland was sublime. And it's almost like Dahoud was rolling back the years.
This was my goal of the week. So I was wondering that Devo wasn't mentioning this goal among his goal of the week, but this pass was great. And Haaland broke the speed record in the Bundesliga season. So he was running faster than 36 kilometers per hour. Faster than my little motorbike was when I was 15. So it was lovely to watch. It was just power, this Haaland run. And then this is Haaland. If you have a goal to describe Erling Haaland, this is the goal.
That was, 100%.
Yeah.
Wolfsburg, they're shagging it.
They're struggling, aren't they? Was that three defeats in the last 4 or 4 in the last 5, something like that? They're really looking at ways to throw away this Champions League place. It looked like it had it sewn up, and they need to address this quickly. Their defense is letting them down. Where that was their strong point before, now they're making little mistakes. It looks like they're nervous, and it's letting them down. But just a quick word on that Haaland goal. Someone on Twitter used that goal to basically slander Bundesliga, saying, look, your goal up, your goal down, the other team's got 10 men and you've got everyone in their half. This is why they, blah, all this stuff. I was like, well, it just goes to show that in Germany, these teams actually want to score goals. So Wolfsburg are trying to chase the game and they've left themselves open. It's just a moment of concentration.
How is that slander?
Do you know what I mean?
I would love to know what team that person supports, and just get a highlight reel of everything that club has done. If it's a United fan, I'll straight away off the top of my head, I'll find that Istanbul Başakşehir goal after 12 minutes. I'll look at that goal because I didn't watch the game live because obviously I was recording. I was doing bits and bobs. I remember watching that game back. I was like, there was no timer in the corner. So I was like, Man United, they're a goal down. They're chasing the game. Fair. Do you know what? Fair play to Man United there for going for it. And then I look at on my Sky Sports News app, 12 minutes. I was like, you're seriously defending like that after 12 minutes? The
issue is that a lot of people who watch the Premier League, a lot of teams in the Premier League come to not lose. Yeah. So you're used to seeing teams play in a way where they don't want to lose rather than they want to win. Whereas in Germany, most teams want to win. Wolfsburg are a goal down. They're playing against 10 men. They're like, right, let's go and get 3 points. Let's go. If we concede another one, we're losing still anyway. Do you know what I mean? You can lose 1-0, you lose 2-0. You still lost. But they chase the game. They want to get the win. And that's what I enjoy seeing. Teams who want to actually win.
Yeah. That's why this league and the MLS are the most entertaining leagues at the moment. And like, we're going to be talking about MLS football at 10 p.m. tonight on MAD Sports Network. But there's a lot of positive things that are happening there. I mean, we've got a lot of news that Devo is going to be rattling through there later on tonight as well. So I'm buzzing for that.
Some big transfers for sure.
Big transfer.
For sure. For sure.
But like, yeah, Dortmund, there is every chance that they might get top 4 now. And
yeah, that's funny because I wasn't even expecting it after my bro. I have to admit, but well, obviously, if Dortmund finishes top 4 and reaches the Champions League, I'm gonna get out this old post and hold it among your nose or under your nose and show it to the whole Twitter world. Luckily, I only have 26 followers or something like that, so. If anyone watches, do me a favor, follow me on Twitter and
follow Flo at Laboron_tweets. Follow him. Stop being muggy. Just follow him because he wants more followers, and also he wants to take the Mickey out of us too as well, which is going to happen by the end of the season. The final game in the Bundesliga, in the Erste Bundesliga, if you want to call it that, is Freiburg versus Hoffenheim. Of course, there was no game for Schalke this week because they were due to be playing against Hertha Berlin. But we know about the COVID situation. Hertha Berlin will be back in action at this weekend in game day 32 for everybody else. But I left this game till last because I don't really want to talk about it, frankly. Babu, great cross for Kramaric. 1-0, there he was. There was a goal from the spot. Vert, who with his first touch, he didn't even touch the ball. Is the first action of being on the pitch in the last couple of moments, try and close the game out. He tried to clear the ball. Demirovic snuck in and got there. Did a VAR check, penalty given, and Grifo loves a pen. 8 and 8 for him.
Yeah.
So
Correct decision,
but always don't think those ones are super harsh.
It's unlucky because you can't. There's not much you can do. You're trying to clear the ball. The geezer got there before you. You kicked his foot. It's a clear-cut pen, but it's also unlucky.
Demirovic has got in there. Like Vert has already pulled his foot back to clear the ball. He has no idea that your man's there.
Yeah,
that's why I think that's harsh. Yeah, it's just harsh.
But it's unfortunate.
I don't like those ones being given now. They're the ones where you just turn around and go, "Oh, I did not see it." It's the best.
You can't do that anymore. He did. VAR said,
well, no, mate, very true. Well, they don't see things properly in VAR either. In the Premier League anyway.
Well, there's something else to talk about in the MLS actually, because their use of VAR over there is pretty damn good. But we'll speak about that later.
We'll talk about that in a bit. I didn't come to you before your game, Flo. I was meant to come to it before the game between you boys, between Leverkusen and Frankfurt, because it's time for this.
Wolfman's words of wisdom.
So, Flo, we didn't really have a words of wisdom for this week, and in our WhatsApp group, he sent us this picture, and I wanted to know what the crack was. So, explain to us what it is and the reason behind it.
Well, this picture is a street right next to the stadium. So, the Bayern Arena is built inside, like many English stadiums, inside an area where lots of houses and flats and buildings, etc. So where a lot of people live, and there's a small park. And Frankfurt fans, they've started to support their team throughout the last weeks. So a couple of them always were traveling to the away matches and trying to support their team from in front of the stadium, like the Leverkusen fans did 2 weeks ago against last week against Cologne. No, 2 weeks ago. Well, it doesn't matter. But since Leverkusen and Frankfurt have a rivalry, which is not obvious on the first view, but I'll come to that. Yeah, our fans thought of themselves, okay, we need to defend our city and our stadium. And let's say there was some interesting argumentation and discussions between the fans about who might be able to stay and who might not. But the police interfered massively, so you had 60-60 on each side. And weren't too much problems, but the biggest problems were that what's it called? Like the COVID rules weren't taken seriously, so they weren't wearing any masks. They might wearing protection for their teeth, but no masks. And what leads me to the words of wisdom?
Mouth diaper. I watched the Pandemic Special at South Park the other day. I was wetting myself. Sorry, carry on.
Which led me to the fact to inform you about some strange rivalries in German football, because the big derbies are obviously, you have Schalke Dortmund, Hamburg Bremen, Cologne Leverkusen, or Cologne Gladbach. Depends on against which team Cologne is losing at the moment. So if Cologne lost against Leverkusen, they say, okay, the derby is Mönchengladbach. If they lost against Gladbach, okay, the derby is Leverkusen.
Sound like Tottenham fans.
If they win there 2 times in a row, they were 2 times derby winners. But let's not focus on that. As I already said, Leverkusen Frankfurt have a rivalry, and this goes back to the fact that back in the 80s, early 80s, a Leverkusen defender made a horrible foul against Frankfurt player Boom Kun Cha from South Korea. And it looked very horrible, and it looked like he couldn't play football anymore. And the big tabloid newspaper, so the equivalent to the Sun in England, had it on the front page and saying, "Oh, this man destroyed the sympathetic Korean Boom Kun Cha." And Frankfurt fans were trying to, were threatening our Leverkusen player, and he needed police for like a couple of weeks to transport him to the training session from his home, etc. And Frankfurt fans were going from Frankfurt to Leverkusen, and this is where all this rivalry started. They wanted to beat the crap out of Leverkusen fans in an away match, and then Frankfurt rivals Offenbach came to support Leverkusen, and together they strike back. Offenbach is right next to Frankfurt.
Them. Yeah.
And since then, Leverkusen and Offenbach have this friendship. Frankfurt Leverkusen another rivalry. You have a similar story with Schalke and Hertha BSC Berlin, but this is just a one-way rivalry. So for Schalke, they don't care. But Hertha,
Hertha like, you wear blue, and we wear blue, so we hate you.
They really don't like Schalke because back in '65, when there wasn't really professional football in Germany, and there weren't so high wages and no fees for signing a contract, there's no signing fees, but everyone did it with black money. And Schalke was finishing on the 16th spot and had to relegate. They were the first relegation spot. And then they accused Hertha Berlin of doing the signing fees with black money and or with laundered money. Do you say it?
Yeah, black money, dirty money, money laundering,
dirty money. And Hertha had to relegate. Schalke stayed in the league. And 6 years later, they played a cup match against each other. And Schalke again had some problems and was against it at the DFB, and it went to sports court. And Hertha was playing with a player which wasn't allowed to, and then Schalke again won. And this year they won the cup, so they wouldn't have won the cup if they weren't protesting against this match.
Lord.
And then we have Hamburg against Karlsruhe. It's a very young rivalry.
Yeah, what is
all
that
goes
one?
back to the 2015 relegation playoff. It was the second time that Hamburg was playing relegation playoffs, and they draw in Hamburg, and 1-1. And Karlsruhe was leading until the last minutes of the match, and they were complaining that the referee gave too much extra time or too much additional time.
I think,
and then there was
this one.
There was a free kick in 20 meters in front of the goal, central position, which looked quite promising, but for the Karlsruhe fans, it wasn't a free kick at all. And it's quite famous in Germany because Van der Vaart, everyone is expecting Van der Vaart to do the free kick because he was Hamburg captain and he would seem to be the man for the big moments. But Marcelo Diaz just did it. So Van der Vaart started running towards the ball, and Marcelo Diaz just made 2 steps, looped it over the defenders in the back of the net, and Hamburg was able to stay in the league. Mm-hmm. And since then, there's always trouble. There was trouble at that match, after the match, and always when Hamburg and Karlsruhe meet, they have trouble. So we have some interesting rivalries in Germany they're obviously more because you have these rivalries. Okay, we are friends with them, and our friend's enemy is also our enemy. Or,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah.
now, or
Yeah.
my enemy's enemy is my friends, and all this
Yeah.
stuff. But these three like the most common noun. And I need to add one thing to the Leverkusen story. I don't know if you heard it in England or where it was reported, but it's a funny story. I need to tell you about it. Frankfurt defender Martin Hinteregger was in a post-match interview asked whether he realized the happenings outside the stadium. It was from but it was not first TV coverage, it was second TV coverage, so from German national media, which reported in the late evening news. And he said, I believe it was ironically, but it couldn't really be understood. I have no problem with that. If the guys, they were caught in their flats for a long time, and it's some exercise for them. And if they want it, just let them do it. And the German TV show decided not to show this interview because it would be bad press. However, one of their workers just filmed the interview with his mobile phone, and it got viral. So
I love it.
So everyone saw
over here, it'd be
Martin
forced to
Hinteregger was saying,
apologise.
like,
Yeah, definitely.
Let the guys have some fun. It's tough times.
It's cancel culture, Flo. You can't do that. It's cancel culture. We're not allowed these things. Go on, Hinteregger, son.
Wolfman's words of wisdom.
Let's have a look at some tables. I'm just going to remove the logo in the top corner because
Get out of here, logo.
I just realised that's the logo that should have been on the whole screen.
It's all right.
That's all right. Well,
It's all
not to worry. Oh, tough.
Too
What
late now,
I'm going
yeah.
to say to that now. Yeah, it's too late. We're at the end of the stream. So let's have a look at the bottom of the table. Is that up on the screen?
Come on. That's harsh, man.
What? Hertha Berlin, 28 games. They've got 3 games in hand. They're on 26 points in 17th position. FC Cologne, they are occupying the current position in the playoff, but it is tight down there. Very, very tight because they're on 29 points. Arminia Bielefeld and Werder Bremen, they're both on 30 points after 31 games. Augsburg, they're embroiled in this. They've just sacked Heiko Herrlich, as we learnt at the beginning of the show. They're on 33 points. We're saying Mainz are safe. I think Mainz are safe because I think there are worse teams that are below them. But they're on 34 points and they could get involved in it as well. Now, let's be real. Has there been any change? No. So, from 11th place in the league, Hoffenheim on 36 points, Stuttgart on 39 points, and the whole top half hasn't moved. But it is getting tighter and tighter amongst those teams. Freiburg, imagine that, in 9th position. First time they've been in 9th position all season. Union Berlin, they're on 46 points alongside Mönchengladbach that have got themselves involved in another in a late European push, both on 46 points. 4 points shy of Flo's Bayer Leverkusen on 50 points, but then that's where the gap is between 6th and 5th. But Bayern, get your words and your teams out, Gav. Borussia Dortmund, after that victory against Wolfsburg, have tightened the gap so much. Wolfsburg might not even get into the Champions League next season, which is ridiculous. Dortmund, 55 points in 5th. Frankfurt, 4th place, 56 points. Already sealed a place as far as we were concerned a couple of weeks ago. Wolfsburg, 57 points in 3rd place. And then the title race goes on for another week, but it will be done at the end of this week. I know it. I feel it. RB Leipzig on 64 points and Bayern Munich top on 71 points. Right then, fixtures. So Friday, we got Stuttgart versus Augsburg. That's on Friday evening. Saturday, loads of fixtures. Whee! Dortmund versus Leipzig. I think Dortmund have got that in the bag. I really do, because Leipzig love to fluff their lines when it gets to the big boys and gets to the big games. So this is where the title is going to get wrapped up, and it will all be thanks to Dortmund. Hoffenheim play against Schalke. Wolfsburg play against Union Berlin. I just wanted to give a moment of silence for Schalke. That's what it was. Werder Bremen have got Flo's boys at home against Bayer Leverkusen. And then Bayern Munich might have won the title by this point without even kicking a ball. But they do play against Borussia Mönchengladbach. So if Leipzig do get a victory, then Bayern only need to get a point, I believe. Then Sunday's games. We've got Cologne versus Freiburg, Frankfurt versus Mainz. I'm really excited about that game. And Hertha Berlin, their first game back in 3 weeks, and they've got a massive 6-pointer against Arminia Bielefeld.
Bielefeld.
Bielefeld. So of those games that we've just seen, my standout is Frankfurt Mainz, but what's everyone else's thoughts?
Dortmund Leipzig. Not so much because of the Leipzig thing. It's just that Dortmund really need to win that game. Really need to win that game. So they, it could be an entertaining game of football.
Yeah,
and I'm interested in how the team reacts after Nagelsmann going to Bayern Munich officially. So this is my favorite too.
There's also an interesting one, Wolfsburg versus Union Berlin. I don't think that's a gimme for anybody as well. Union Berlin Wolfsburg could find themselves out of the top 4 at the end of the weekend.
That would be crazy. That would be so crazy.
They remind me of Leicester in the Premier League last season.
Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of. Before we go, we're going to have a quick look at the top of the Zweite Bundesliga.
Bundesliga.
Things are looking relatively interesting there. So, in that, we've got Bochum, who are looking at going back to the big time. Really looking forward to that. I really am. And there's only 3 games left for them. They only need a point to guarantee promotion. And Greuther Fürth, I really like Greuther Fürth. I don't know why, but I do. And no one at me about that. But they're on.
Well, I have to step in there for a second because Greuther Fürth played today an additional match against Sandhausen.
Oh.
And they won it. They were 2-1 behind, but they were able to turn it around in the last 15 minutes. So they have actually 57 points.
Oh, wow.
Makes it even more complicated for the clubs behind. But
and that is why, for a live show on a Wednesday, don't do your research at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday, because things change before then. Don't get too far ahead of the game. So Greuther Fürth are actually on 57 points, only 3 points behind Bochum. Yeah. So it's going to be a very interesting race for the top spot, because I think that would just give them a little bit more kudos, where if Bochum get there, which would be lovely. Hamburg are in the 3rd place spot, which is the relegation playoff spot, which is currently being occupied by Cologne. Now, Cologne will batter Hamburg.
I've seen Hamburg play a couple of times this season, and both times I've seen them, they've looked dodgy. They lost. I can't remember who it was they lost against. I think one was St. Pauli, and the other one was a relegation threatened side who they lost to, and their captain got sent off in the last few minutes. But are Holstein Kiel, are they playing today as well?
I don't think so.
They've got a semi-final of the Pokal, haven't they? As well,
they have it on Friday. Yeah. The reason why is playing next week Tuesday another match, and the Greuther Fürth match just ended like half an hour ago. So during our show, you couldn't even research it before, Gav.
What I'm hoping for is that we could get to a point where we've got producers and that, and we don't actually have to click any buttons behind the scenes. People do it for us, and that is the plan. So if anyone wants to apply within, if you email us, madsportsnetwork@gmail.com. Right, so the reason why I put the top 8 there is because mathematically it is possible for Karlsruhe to get into 3rd spot. I don't think they will, but if they do win, they've got 2 games in hand over some of these sides. That puts them on 50 points, level with Holstein Kiel. And then, Fortuna Düsseldorf, it would be lovely to see them back in the big time for me personally, because I love Düsseldorf as a city. It's a brilliant city. Heidenheim, have I just upset you there, Flo? Or do you like... I don't know if I upset you there by calling Düsseldorf a lovely place.
No, Düsseldorf is a lovely place. I would also admit that Cologne is a nice city.
Yeah,
Just
but you don't
don't
like
the
them.
football team.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just loved the old city of Düsseldorf is great for a night out. It's
Yeah, it is.
known as
Brilliant.
the longest bar in Germany because there's one bar next to each other and you can basically
I've been.
walk through these bars.
I went for my birthday 6 years ago. Beautiful, beautiful place. Beautiful
We'll have to
city.
check it out once we're
You
allowed to travel.
need to get it done, Devo. 100%. We'll leave our partners with the kids. But
Yeah.
I haven't spoke to my missus. She wants to come out with us. So therefore,
I'm open.
you know,
Mother-in-law.
yeah. But my baby don't feed yet. She
Yeah.
needs a mother, which is frustrating. But that's going to change. That will change soon. But yeah, it's looking very interesting at the top. So I'm going to stick my neck on the line and say Bochum and Greuther Fürth are coming up. And the playoff position, I'm going to say it's going to be Dusseldorf.
I'm going for Holstein Kiel.
Flo.
It's funny that everyone assumes Hamburg not to promote, and that's for a reason, of course. I also believe Bochum is going to promote because 60 points, unfortunately, is enough in the second Bundesliga. The league is horrible, especially the race for promotion.
Yeah, I mean, like, look.
Sometimes you have to want to promote. And now Fürth is in a very good place, and I can imagine that Kiel is going on the relegation spot, on the playoff spot.
Yeah.
I mean, like Bochum have lost a third of their games in the top. That's just how madness that league is. But that brings us to the end of the Bundesliga show, die Bundesliga show. Until nächstes Woche, nächstes Mittwoch, 7 Stunde, with the boys, of course, at MAD Sports Network, at MADSN, at Gav Mack 23, at Devo LDN, at Laboron _tweets, at TFB Dugout, at 2 Up Top Football. They are all our handles. They're going on the bottom of the screen. They've been going on the bottom of the screen for a little while. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to all of our channels. That is Dugout, 2 Up Top, and MAD. Make sure you do that. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Tell all your friends, tell all your pals, and thank you very much, everybody, for your support. Little quick one here from Erhan. Farmers League at it again. You guys should watch the Prem. It's better. Tottenham fans.
He's a Spurs fan. You have no right to talk about anything.
Exactly. You have no right to say a word on life. And my boy Manasay out in Uganda. He loves it. He said, "What's up, guys? I hope you're doing great. It's been a long time from that since he's been able to join in, but he's back again, and the love to Up Top Football. Absolutely love it. Send your love to MAD Sports Network as well. Lovely, thank you. Yeah, from myself, Gav Mack, from my boy Devo, from my boy Flozif. Thank you, everybody, so much, and cheers."